Hello, and welcome to Everyday Woman, where everyday women are celebrated in every way. This is another exciting segment of Open Dialogue, and I just want to jump right into this. We have a very, very special guest with us today. He is an author, he is a radio talk show host, and he's an executive film producer. His name is John Ziegler. And John, I have to tell you, my husband is very envious when I told him that you were coming today. He was like, can you give him a shout out for me? So from Ephraim Lewis, I wanted to tell you, he's one of your supporters and he's a follower.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's very sweet of you.
Thank you for joining us. I just want to jump right into this today. We are excited to have you today because what we want to talk about today, John, is this new phenomenon, this new concept of tea parties and citizens getting together and sharing their concerns or their expressions regarding freedom of speech. And we know through your number of medias that you're involved in, you're somewhat of an advocate of that. So we wanted you to come on and just kind of talk to us about what's jumpstarting this phenomenon.
Well, I mean, I did write a book called The Death of Free Speech, and I think we've seen in this administration some troubling signs with regard to the issue of free speech and calling the Tea Parties racist for all intents and purposes, although the president has not said that. He hasn't really condemned it, and former President Jimmy Carter did, and a lot of other liberals have tried to portray the Tea Parties as racist. My basic view on the Tea Parties is it's great that people are doing this. I just wish that they had been doing it back when it mattered, before November of 2008. Where were all these people when they could actually vote? And so while I think it's a positive development, it concerns me a little bit because I do think it's fostering slightly a false sense of security and a false sense of progress, when in fact the libertarian conservative side, which I consider myself to be a member of, is in still grave trouble. And I'm not sure that in the long run we're doing ourselves a lot of favors or doing much for the cause with these Tea Parties, because they are being portrayed in mainstream America in a way that's not very favorable. So I'm conflicted about them, although I certainly appreciate people's sentiment behind them.
Interesting, as you were talking about the election, you have developed a media malpractice DVD. And in this, you really talk about the election, how President Obama was elected, and really how the media treated Governor Sarah Palin as it relates to their attacks and just the unbalanced of it. In your words, could you tell us, what do you think happened? What happened in an election, particularly to Governor Palin?
Well, the film is called Media Malpractice, How Obama Got Elected and Palin Was Targeted. People can find out more about it at our website, www.howobamagotElected.com. I've been going throughout the whole country screening the film, and been on the Today Show, The View, and virtually every cable news show, and many radio shows talking about this. The bottom line of what occurred, I believe, is that very early on in the primary season, the news media decided that they did not want Hillary Clinton to run away with the Democratic nomination, because that would make for a very boring spring for them. They'd have nothing to talk about. And so they picked Barack Obama as what they thought at first was the harmless candidate to challenge her, because let's not muss this guy up. He's new, he's exciting, he's charismatic. He can't possibly be president. Maybe he can be Hillary's VP, or maybe if Hillary loses in 2008, he can be the nominee in 2012, and everyone will go home happy. Then events started spiraling out of control. MSNBC decided it was in their financial self-interest to become the Obama network, and the rest is basically history. Once he had the nomination, the last thing standing in his way was Sarah Palin, and the news media went on an unprecedented seek and destroy mission on her candidacy and her character, which I prove in my film with an interview with her from her home in Wasilla, Alaska, which is about 45 minutes long and which is a special feature on the DVD, where you get to see the real Sarah Palin. Was one of the most dangerous things that's ever happened in the history of our media, and ought to scare the living daylights out of every American, regardless of whether they're Democrat, Republican, or Independent.
So let me ask you this. When you interviewed Governor Palin, as we're closing this out, what was probably the one thing that she left with you that really concerned you about the election and how she was treated?
Well, it's not one thing. It's a series of unbelievable lies and distortions that clearly could only have occurred because of an agenda by the news media that was both ideological, meaning pro-Obama, pro-liberal, pro-socialist, and two, was pro-ratings, because the perfect storm here was that she was great for ratings because she's attractive, she was new, it was exciting, and so every time they did a negative Sarah Palin story, their ratings went through the roof, and so and then Tina Fey got involved, and it just all snowballed, and it's a heck of a film, but it's also a travesty that every American ought to be made aware of, and that's why I've tried to do this through this film, Media Malpractice.
Well, John, I want to thank you so very much for coming on. And to our audience, Media Malpractice, if you want more information about obtaining a copy of this, please log on to everywaywoman.com. And more importantly, please make sure you stay informed. Open Dialogue is now closed.